Welcome to Anything You Want. If you enjoy inside scoops and the delicate dance of celebrity lives, make sure to subscribe, tap the bell, and consider joining the channel to support our exclusive coverage. Now, let us turn to a night at Venice that will be remembered as much for human emotion as for cinematic brilliance. The annual convergence of film, fashion, and star power on the canals of Venice was already ablaze with expectation when one Turkish actor transformed a routine award acceptance into a moment of reverberating consequence. Can Yaman, whose public persona blends charisma, cultivated mystery, and a very visible fan devotion, stepped onto the stage to accept an honor that ordinarily crowns a career milestone. Instead, his words reshaped the evening's narrative. What began as a polished accolade swelled into a scene fraught with atmosphere and unspoken history when the actor diverted his tribute away from praise of colleagues and toward a person from his past. From the instant he announced that his award was dedicated to the individual who had most inspired him, a hush spread across the assembly. Cameras pivoted, murmurs rippled. The dedicated name was not a collaborator, nor an artistic mentor. It was the actress Demet Özdemir, a figure who has previously been entwined with Yaman in both headlines and affectionate public speculation. The declaration, wrapped in warmth yet carrying a tremor of something unresolved, landed heavily. The immediate visual that broadcasted to viewers around the globe was not Yaman's smile but the expression of his present partner, Sarah Bluma, a visage that, according to eyewitness and press accounts, conveyed a collision of surprise, dismay, and palpable humiliation. Within hours, the festival's glamour gave way to social feeds saturated with reaction. Demet Özdemir, who has largely maintained a composed public presence since her chapter with Yaman closed, elected to answer the unexpected tribute not with a curt statement but with an image from a time when their lives intersected. The photograph was accompanied by a passage of sentiment, not the short soundbite of tabloids, but a string of carefully chosen reflections on absence, memory, and the lingering weight of affection. She spoke in a voice that suggested wounds both recent and ancient, a confession framed as a gentle lament rather than a headline-seeking provocation. The phrasing she used, unmistakably intimate and full of echoes, prompted millions of followers to wonder whether the past had simply been dredged up or whether something more deliberate was being signaled. The response across platforms was immediate and polarized. One faction seized on Demet's words as evidence of an unresolved romance, declaring via comments, hashtags, and fervent edits that destiny might yet realign the two. Another faction urged caution, arguing that public airing of private feeling risks collateral harm and that the dignity of everyone involved should be respected. Meanwhile, a steady stream of onlookers pointed out the position of Sarah Bluma, the newcomer at Can Yaman's side, whose silence online has been described by close sources as a storm in the making. Italian outlets reported that in private conversations she said she had never felt so publicly belittled. Turkish columnists asked whether the very public dedication could undermine the trust within a budding relationship. It is tempting to reduce the episode to a simple triangle of lovers, past, present, and the man between them, but the reality is threaded with nuance. The romance between Can and Demet was once presented to the public with a mixture of passion and discretion. It cultivated a fan culture that, in its most ardent form, coined portmanteaus and fed a steady appetite for every glance and gesture. For those who once cherished this pairing, the Venice incident functions as both validation and vindication of long-held hopes. Yet insiders close to Demet insist that her social media note was not a theatrical bid for attention but a spontaneous, human response to a raw stimulus. In other words, what appears calculated may simply be the uncurated ache of a person confronted with an unexpectedly tender public tribute. From a public relations vantage, the spectacle is delicate. Can Yaman's silence, measured and deliberate in the immediate aftermath, has been interpreted variously as strategic restraint and emotional turmoil. Colleagues and industry watchers emphasize that a celebrity's offstage life can affect onstage marketability. An episode that suggests domestic instability may ripple into future casting choices and endorsement opportunities. For Sarah Bluma, this moment could either be a crucible that forges resilience or an inflection point that rewrites her public alliance. Equally, for Demet, the act of posting may have reopened old chapters she believed to be archived, or it might simply have been the honest outpouring of someone struck by a public testament to shared inspiration. The international dimension adds complexity. Italian tabloids, ever eager for dramatic copy, parsed the subtext with headlines that amplified the rawness of a woman's expression caught by a lens. Turkish outlets traced the story backward and forward through the couple's history, producing a narrative that zigs and zags between nostalgia and scandal. Social media platforms, for their part, rendered the event both immediate and interminable. Reaction videos, think pieces, fan edits, and mournful ballads all circulated, imposing layers of interpretation upon an act that, in its origin, was a single sentence on a speech transcript. Let us pause for a moment and consider how the protagonists themselves may further shape the unfolding story. If Sarah elects to speak, whether defensively, forgivingly, or with measured distance, her words will either calm or inflame the situation. If Demet expands upon her social media reflection with a more explicit exposition, watchers will demand context, and the pressure on Yaman to answer will intensify. Conversely, if Can chooses silence as a long game, the vacuum will be filled by conjecture, and the tabloids will write the sentences he refuses to speak. Before we move on, a small reminder from your channel. If you love deep dives into celebrity moments like this one, please press subscribe, leave a thoughtful comment below, and if you can, hit the join button to help us bring even more investigative and heartfelt coverage to you. Tell us in the comments, which Turkish star should we follow next? Do you want behind-the-scenes analysis, timeline reconstructions, or exclusive fan reaction roundups? Your input shapes everything we do on Anything You Want. Predictive readers and industry analysts are already sketching scenarios, one where Sarah, galvanized, reasserts her presence and the trio settles into a quiet equilibrium. Another where she disengages and Can and Demet move toward rapprochement. A third more fraught where ongoing friction tangles their public images and leads to a protracted media campaign. Each outcome carries reputational consequences and emotional costs. For an actor who trades in aura and approbation, the calculus of love and career is not merely romantic, it is strategic. As the dust settles on the Venetian red carpet, a new question lingers in the air like the scent of salt and old-world glamour. What does the heart of Can Yaman truly desire? The answer may come in a curt interview, a late-night social upload, or not at all. For the moment, the three figures at the center of this unfolding tableau remain composed, watched, and widely speculated upon. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Demet's post is a rekindling attempt, a nostalgic ripple, or an honest admission that the past still resides in her? Would you stand by Sarah if you were in her shoes, or would you interpret Can's dedication as a line crossed? Comment below. The best responses may be read aloud in our next episode. Thank you for watching and for trusting Anything You Want to bring you the human stories behind the headlines. If this piece resonated, please like, subscribe, and support us by tapping the join button. Your engagement keeps our coverage going. Until our next report, keep watching closely, because in the lives of stars the smallest gestures often carry the largest consequences.